Hello, Forest Focus. Our guest today is a man who's taken 643 wickets for Nottinghamshire, a county championship and one day cup winner, and a double T20 Blast winner, as well as a big Forest fan. It's great to have Luke Fletcher with us. Fletch, good to see you after quite a while. How are you?
Matt, I'm very well. I'm very excited to be on the Big Shed Forest podcast with you, mate. I've been a big fan over the years. So yeah, good to chat to you again, mate. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has, after years of covering cricket, watching you play cricket, seeing you have some of those big successes and a few blows as well along the way, which I'm looking forward to talking about. Got you on because you're leaving Notts at the end of the season. Just listening to that intro, 643 wickets, all those titles, which are the things that players remember most, I guess. I guess you'd have taken that 17 years ago, wouldn't you?
Well, I've answered this question quite a lot. When I first came to Trent Bridge all that time ago, to actually reflect and look back now and think of actually what I've achieved in that time is incredible. So my overriding emotion probably is just being grateful for all the opportunities that I've had along the way at such a big club, and obviously with it being my hometown club as well makes it even more special, I suppose. So yeah, very blessed and very grateful for everything the club's done for me.
I guess when you're in the thick of it, I mean, you're still an Ox player, obviously, but you can't really take time and take stock, can you? Because you just got to look at the next training session, the next over you're going to bowl. So is that a weird sensation before you've even left, just taking time to reflect with, your wife and your family and everything else?
Yeah, I still don't. It just still feels a bit weird now, I suppose. Like I don't feel like I'm not a Notts player. So I think, like you said, we're still in the season. So I think in time to come, when obviously things change in the winter, building up to next season, whatever that may be, these little milestones that you seem to hit throughout the year, that'll be definitely a change for me. So I think like you bang on really in what you said about when you're playing, you're right in the thick of it. You're in the zone. You're just concentrating on what's in front of you, and you just get through it that way. So I think once the dust settles and the season finally finishes end of next week, it'll probably hit me a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to leaving, 17 years, I don't know how long you've known. We as fans have known for about a week. What were the emotions when you found out? Was it a shock? Was it a decision you welcomed? Even do you feel like you've run your course? What were the emotions then?
There was a lot of emotions really. I'm someone that's always sort of been in the contract, so I've never really been in this position before. Many times anyway, certainly a few times, but not many. But obviously, with me being a bit older now and things seem to be moving on, you've got younger players coming through who are doing well. So I think eventually it runs its course, doesn't it, for everyone? And really, I think if I look back and think I've done 17 years at one club playing professional sport, it's gonna finish at some stage. So I'm just really grateful that I've had the chance to do it to play for Notts for such a long time. So I didn't know it was going to be the end, but I knew the end was around the corner, if that makes sense. So it wasn't a shock.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine. I mean, as we reflect now, what are the highlights for you? Is it just literally that when you look at your Wikipedia page, if you've got, I'm sure you have, and you see those titles, is that the things you'll remember, or is there something else that you'll remember most?
No, I think yeah, of course. I mean, you look back over your career, don't you? And I think I've won every single trophy. Division One, Division Two, couple of T20s, Pro 40, one dayers, the 100, even the 100 with the Trent Rockets. So yeah, I mean, I'm very, very lucky. A lot of players go through a whole career without winning a single trophy and have a successful career. So yeah, to be in an environment full of talented players and play at a test ground like Trent Bridge, these are the things that make it more special in a way. And I think what I'll miss the most is probably the people. I've always been a people person. So the change room environment, everyone around the ground at Trent Bridge, the members, everything about that I'll miss. But it's time to move on at some stage for everyone. So that'll take a bit of time for me to get over. But that's when I look back. I think that's what I really will miss.
Who have been your biggest influences then throughout your career? I mean, you'll inevitably miss some names off here, but if you were citing a few, who's really
Yeah,
shaped
it's
you?
all. I mean, I don't like saying names because there is definitely always people that you miss off. But Certainly the early days when I came into the dressing room, it was full of senior players. You know, your Paul Franks, Mark Elam's, Chris Reid, Graham Swans, David Hussey, Ryan Sidebottom, Charlie Shrek, Andre Adams, all these people, Alistair Brown. So it was just jam-packed full of experience. And they all guided me in a way through the system, if that makes sense. You know, how to behave, how to go about training, how to prepare for certain games, how to deal with being under pressure, executing skills, all that sort of stuff. So I was really, really fortunate to have them around in the early days. You know, as a young pro, you sort of feed off the older players. So I was very lucky. So all them players had a massive influence on me. Coaching wise, I remember back in the day with Mike Hendrick, God bless him, he's not with us anymore. But he was a brilliant bowling coach, and led on to then Andy Pick, who was a Nottinghamshire legend himself, really. He's been around the club for a long time, with bags of experience, knows the club well, knows what it's like to play at Trent Bridge. So he was brilliant for me. And then also finishing off with Kevin Shine, who's worked at the higher honours for a long time with the ECB. He's brought a lot of fast bowlers through the system there, so he knows a huge amount about bowling. So I've always been lucky to have good people around me. You know, that's just my bowling coaches, but then you also look at, you know, Mick Newell, who was the longest serving coach in the county game, passed on to Peter Moores, who's come from England. So we've always been lucky at Notts, and I know it's a big club, and it attracts the right people. So to have good people around you all the time is a massive influence on all of us, really. And that's what I tried, or certainly I've tried to do to the younger lads over the last few years, is just pass that knowledge on to the younger players coming through, which I think is important. You know, it's gone out of the game slightly. There used to be a lot more communication. People used to sit down and talk over a pint after the game or whatever it was. But I think that's really important.
Why is that gone? I mean, obviously players don't drink as much, I guess, as even when you started. But the general principle, why is it gone?
Yeah, I don't know really. We used to all the time, even opposition, spend a lot of time talking to those, because I think you can get some good information. But I don't know why. Maybe it's a generation thing. It's frowned upon probably a bit more now than what it used to be. There's a lot more people involved in the game. You know, your strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, all this and all that. There's a lot more knowledge on what's good for performance these days. But I still think that communicating and talking to others was a massive part of my development, and I learned a huge amount. And I do get that, you know, sometimes you got to toe the line with off the field antics and things like that. But you can get a lot from it. You can. But I do remember them early days being brilliant for younger players like myself.
Yeah, Temps was on this morning saying that, you know, he could tell about some of your younger antics and off the field antics, but, you know, save that for another day, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I did. I mean, listen, I towed the line a lot. I think when I was younger, I was just so excited to be around a professional dressing room. You know, I'm traveling around the country, around the world, playing cricket, staying in nice hotels, going to different cities week on, week out. I'm around superstars. And I just loved all of it, to be honest, Matt. I was right in there. I absolutely loved every minute, on the field, off the field, everything and what it was all about. And I didn't want to miss out. You know, I had FOMO. I just didn't want to miss out. So it wasn't through, you know, I didn't want to put myself in them positions, but I didn't want to miss out. You know, and it was all new to me. So that obviously changed over years. You have kids and things like that, so you know, your priorities change. You don't get as much time as what you used to have. But yeah, certainly burnt the candle at both ends when I was younger. That is for sure.
Was that in part as well because you didn't come through, you know, to this day in cricket and football, you have the, you know, the player pathways and all that kind of stuff. You didn't come through a traditional route, and I guess that probably impacted how you went about the early years of your career. And as you mentioned, you probably needed those senior pros to be a guiding hand when you were younger.
Mate, absolutely. I mean, I come from where I'm from. Really, I'm a working class background. My dad was a miner, mum was a dinner lady. Came through the school system, did all right at school, but never really liked it. And then just ended up found myself playing cricket. You know, I was good at cricket. I was naturally good at it. I enjoyed the social side for my local club, Paprick and Limby. We used to go out in Mansfield or Nottingham after the games on a Saturday, and then play Sunday league the next day, a bit dusty and things like that. So I was a bit of a free spirit, I'd say. You know, I'd always done it my way. And I think when you start coming into a professional environment, you've got to toe the line and you've got to make a few more sacrifices than maybe what I should have done early on in my career. Really, I probably didn't make them sacrifices as early as I should. But like I said, I was a free spirit, and to be fair, it if I shut myself away in a room and don't go out and have fun and spend time and socialise with people, I'm probably worse off it on the field, really. So I've found the balance, I think, in the last part of my career where you can sort of do both and make sure I'm doing a good job on the field as well. But it's very difficult when you're younger pro. You get a lot of things thrown at you, and it's all new and everything's amazing. So it's challenging at times, but to have them senior lads around was definitely, I would say, fast tracked me through the system more than you probably would other players. I was lucky that with the change room we had.
Is that a culture shock thing in cricket? It's got a reputation of being a public schoolboys sport. I mean, that bears out in the England team. I don't know about county cricket, but Notts is one of the kind of legacy counties with the pavilion and the formality of it, having been in there myself. Is that something that you and other young players who come from that that background of playing club cricket, going to state school, is that a thing, or am I making too much of that, do you think?
Well, it certainly was back. It felt like it was back in the day. It felt harder. The opportunities weren't quite there. I didn't play cricket at school, so when you think of all the young kids, boys and girls that are playing cricket through school as well, the advantages they've got. It's like anything. The more time you put into things, the better you're going to become. But I had a great cricket club with facilities at Paprika Limby, so I'd spend all my summer there, 6-week holidays, all there in the nets playing, and then obviously at the weekends as well. So I sort of did it that way rather than coming through a private school where you've got good coaches, good facilities around you. So that's what I said at the start, mate. I figured it out myself, really, in a way, and sort of done it how I wanted to do it. And I get that that's different to other people, but at the end of the day, I've always prided myself on my performances on the field, but just had a different way of going about it.
Well, which performances on the field would you pick out? I don't know if you're not somebody who likes to big themselves up too much, but you've had some great. You had a spell where you were taking wickets for fun, not even that long ago, just a couple of years ago, when you were in a real purple patch. Which individual performances would you look at with the most pride now?
I think you look at performances, and you don't want to be a cliche, but ones that can turn games and win games. That's what it's all about. And I love my role in the T20 side, bowling the death overs. Because that is, literally 0 to 0 overnight. You can have everyone up and about at Trent Bridge and nail your skill and win a game one night, and the next night you can go for 50. So, but I used to like that. I love the pressure moments in the games. I want the ball. I'd say to the captain, "Give me the ball." I want to do that job. So I was never really frightened about pressure. I used to enjoy it. So the more people were there at Trent Bridge, the better for me. So I would say the T20. There's a couple of T20 games that stick out where I nailed it at the death and won us a few games. The 4-day stuff, I went through a period, like you said, 2021, I think it was, where I just kept getting 6-fers, 7-fers, 5-fers, it just 10-fers. It was just crazy, all in the space of 6 weeks. It was a proper purple patch. So they were good times. Even the younger days when I used to even train in the nets, I always used to try and make sure. I got some brilliant advice off a coach, Wayne Nuno. He said to me, every time you train, you need to be the best bowler on show. And if the captain's batting in the nets, which was Chris Reid at the time, you need to make sure you're the best bowler at him. So, right from the early days, I'd always put myself under pressure to perform and make sure I was the best I could possibly be. And listen, it doesn't work out every single day or every single game. Of course it doesn't. That's sport. But, 7 times out of 10, I'd like to back my performance and say that I've had an impact on the games, which I think is pretty good. I've always been pretty consistent in my performances, and people have been able to rely on me. So that's why I think captains like me in the side, because you sort of know what you're going to get. But I'd probably say it wasn't till the latter third of my career where I tried to expand my game and tried to really improve my skills to become more of an effective bowler. And that was a lot. I did a lot of work with Kevin Shine, which was brilliant. So yeah, professional sport's a journey, isn't it? When you do it for so long, it's a complete journey, and you're learning all the time. And you go through rough times and tough patches where you lose form, lose confidence, and then you come through it, and then you do it again and again and again. You get injuries, you're out the side, so it's tough. It is really tough. But I've always prided myself on when the pressure's really on, I'll stick my hand up and do the job for the team.
I guess getting cracked in the head in 2017 was, I assume that was the toughest point, because it was so much that's out of your hands, and the recovery's in a way out of your hands. Was that the low or the hardest moment for you?
It wasn't really a low. I never looked at it like that. I mean, it was just a freak accident, wasn't it? It was nothing. At the time, we were flying as a team, and as an individual, I was flying as well. I mean, we won the Lord's final a week before at against Surrey, where Halesey got his 187 not out. We were top of Division 2. We were going, I think, in fact, we weren't going well in the T20s. We lost the first 2 games, but then went on to win it that year. And then obviously got cracked on the head, and that was it. End of the season, bleed on the brain, 6 months out. I couldn't drive. So, it was frustrating more than anything, because I was going so well. But it's nothing. There's nothing I couldn't control the situation. It was what it was. I got hit, and I was advised by the medics and the head specialist to not play for another 6 months. Which, you don't want to not take that advice. Do as you're told and get yourself right next year. So that's the way I looked at it. I thought, listen, I've got a bit of time. I did my level 3 coaching, which the PCA helped out with, just to keep busy. I had a son at the time. My daughter wasn't born then, so I was busy. But it was just unfortunate that we were flying that season and I couldn't finish it off.
Have you mentioned coaching? I mean, have you thought about what's next? You're good with the media, I know that as well. But I don't know. Are you going to potentially carry on playing like Samit's gone to Derbyshire, or are you done? Do you think?
You're not the first to ask that. Listen, you know what? I've had some brilliant advice over the last 2 or 3 weeks from people that have been in this situation before, and they all said, just take your time, don't rush a decision, have a bit of time away, and then come back and figure out what you want to do. So yeah, listen, coaching, I could definitely see myself being a coach in the future. My passion is fast bowling. I love the game of cricket. I want to stay in cricket all my life if I possibly can. I enjoy the media side of it as well, like you mentioned. That's something I've really liked, the radio and the TV and things like that. That's something that I feel comes quite naturally to me. But yeah, definitely, I want to eventually go into coaching. I would love that. But we'll see. I'm gonna listen to that advice and have a bit of time off with the family, and then we'll go from there.
What does the decision come down to? Is it? I mean, you've got to have passion to want to carry on, I guess. You listen to what your missus says to you. What will be the deciding factor on what you do next?
Exactly that. Have I still got passion to get up in the morning and go and do the work to play cricket again? I don't think I will play all formats, so that's something I've thought about for a long time now. With being, an older player, playing 3 formats is tough on the body. So I'd like to prioritise 1, maybe 2. And then you obviously, you got to think what works for other people as well. So them conversations, I'm sure, will happen soon, and we'll go from there. But I certainly see myself in the future going into coaching.
Let's talk about Forest in 1 second, but before we do that, a word for the Trent Navigation, our big sponsors, of course. Forest v Fulham straight after the game, Steve McGill and his mixtape, obviously the build-up before the game, Pizza Kitchen Barbecue, 2 outdoor bars, real ales, cask beers, ciders and more, and of course they do accept cash, not everywhere does these days. And this is going out on a Wednesday, so there's a discount pizzas every Wednesday, £8.50, and they are very good, which leads me to my next question. You're free to eat pizza now. In fact, athletes do eat pizzas after game. But what's on your toppings of choice there, Fletch?
I was just looking through that menu. That looks top drawer, doesn't it, Matt?
It does, yeah.
I like just a standard pepperoni, if I'm honest. I like pepperoni and green chilies. I like it a bit spicy. But I'm also partial to a bit of a Hawaiian as well. I don't mind a Hawaiian. I like pineapple on a pizza. I like a meat feast. I don't like anything with fish. So
no.
Not a big fish fan, but yeah, keep it simple. I like a margarita. So yeah, a pizza. I mean, my kids love pizza as well. So do I. And actually, it's good recovery food as well.
Yes. So they say. You second guest in a row to say pineapple on pizza after Guy Mowbray said last week. So yeah. Not too controversial. Let's talk about Forest some more then. People watching on YouTube will see that Fletch is in his Forest shirt. Genuinely a big Forest fan. I mean, you go home every game. I guess you might try and go more now. But what's your Forest story? Is it something that's run through the whole family, or did you get into it just by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, run through the whole family really. I've been going since I was. Then I got a half season ticket. That's the first thing I did. I used to go, but I wasn't a season ticket holder. Then I got a half a season ticket when I was 12, I think, something like that. So I used to get the bus down and then make my way to the City ground. So I've been going a lot, and then obviously throughout the years it's been difficult with cricket sometimes. So I missed a few games in summer, but I'm a season ticket holder now. Me and my son have both got season tickets, so we go to every home game. We try and get to as many away games as we can. We went to Anfield a couple of weeks ago, so that was brilliant. So we're trying to make our way around the grounds that he's not been to, and me as well. But yeah, always been a Forest fan, mate. I've always followed them since I was young.
I guess it's even better. Like my daughter goes a bit. My son's not particularly interested yet. Well, if he's never is, that's cool. But I guess it's even special for you to have Freddie going with you home and away as a dad.
Amazing. I mean, he's come into Forest since Steve Cooper had been signed on when we were bottom of the league. So all he's pretty much seen us as being successful. And I know, we managed to scrape up and stay in the Premier League. So he's never seen us through the tough times back in the day. He thinks we're going to sign Kylian Mbappe. He thinks Forest are going to be in the Champions League next year. So he's so passionate about the club. He absolutely loves it. And so do I. I mean, it's sort of reignited that passion back into me. When you see kids like that, it sort of spurs you on as well, and you sort of remember them times when you were buzzing to go down the City ground. And it's nice that we can do that together, I suppose, now.
I mean, I know you played as a kid yourself. Are all cricketers frustrated footballers? I feel like Stuart Broad was massively.
Well, all fast bowlers are just release footballers, really. All fast bowlers are release footballers, or the rubbish at batting. So what else is there to do? Let's bowl fast. No, we all like to think we're good at football. And I was all right. I was on Notts County's academy when I was younger, not for very long. And then that's really how I got into cricket. I got released from county and lost the love a bit for football, and then got into cricket. But always been really passionate about Forest. And like I say, it's amazing now that we get to go down every week and follow them, and sometimes get an away ticket, which is hard to get these days, isn't it? It's really tough.
How do you view the season so far then? Unbeaten after 5 games. Some fans are getting giddy. Some fans are, saying, hang on a minute, let's just stay in the league. How do you view it?
Well, the way I look at it is, to me, it looks like they're a real squad of players that they've all brought into what Nuno's about. It looks like they're all together on the job. And I'm really happy we've kept some of our big players. I was worried at one point we're going to miss a few of those, but I think Nuno's done a great job in recruiting the players he's recruited. And it seems to me like we've got now a squad of players that can compete against the top clubs. And I don't sort of feel like we've had that in the last 2 seasons. It's always been, well, if we can try and scrape a point there, if we can scrape a point there. I genuinely feel now, Matt, that we can go to some of these bigger clubs and get the 3 points. I honestly do. I think we've got enough players now in that squad, not necessarily always playing 11, but in the squad that can compete. And I think that's massive in this division. You know what it's like. You get a few injuries, and if you're not quite there with the squad of players you've got, you can put yourself under massive pressure. But I feel we as a club now, we've got that nailed. I honestly do. I look at our defence; it's absolutely rock solid. You look at the attacking players we've got, the style of play we can have on certain games. We seem to have that covered now, and it's great. Even when we went to Anfield, honestly, Forest looked like they controlled the whole game. The tactics behind the whole game was brilliant. And yeah, I really like Nuno. I think he's a good man, and I think he's done a great job with the players he's got. He seems to be getting the best out of them, and it seems to be a happy camp at the minute.
I was going to ask you about that as well. How big is that? Happy camp, one thing, momentum and belief. When you've been in dressing rooms yourself, sometimes the next fixture can look pretty daunting depending on form. How big is that for Forest as we sit here right now?
Well, I think I know how them players are feeling. So when you've got a bit of momentum, you sort of become like a glass half full kind of character or team or squad, and you see the good in everything. So you see the positives in everything, and you fancy Liverpool away. You think, well, actually, we could nick that. So you start looking at things differently. Everyone seems to be getting on really well. It seems a real tight knit group now, and that's important. You've got a lot of people coming from abroad. Even Anderson from Newcastle, he's been there all his life. All these little things that can be challenging and can have an effect on performance. Forest seem to be grouping well together now, and seem to be on a bit of a mission, really, don't they? And you can feel it. You can feel the confidence in the players when you watch them play. And I mean, the Hudson-Odoi and Elanga is amazing. They come on and they cause chaos, don't they? And that just frees up a lot more space for things to happen with Gibbs White and Wood. So honestly, I do. I believe in momentum. I think it's a real thing, and you can certainly feel it now.
What about a balance of characters as well in the dressing room from your experiences? Like I think of Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, Olorino in particular, look like they enjoy life in general. Then you've got experiences of leadership like Yates and Milenkovic, I guess. That chemistry essential to having a good season, as much as what you do on the pitch?
I think so, yeah. I think because different people, different characters bring different things to the table. A lot of them players seem to bring a lot of energy, don't they? They look good fun to be around. And then, like you said, you've got your Yateses and that are solid blokes that come in, get the job done, are as professional as anyone in the world. So it's a real balance. And if you get it right, if you get the mixture right, it can have a huge impact on what happens on the field. I've been in so many different dressing rooms, and sometimes naturally this forms. You naturally build relationships, but a lot of it is a lot to do with off the field as well. The kids, they go meet up at the park, or you go and watch a show, or you go out and have a Sunday roast and a few drinks, whatever it is. But it all plays a part into success on the pitch. And I watch Forest now, and I think that must be so much fun in the dressing room now. You can just tell that they're all buzzing to play for the club, and they're up for every single game.
Who are the best mates you've made in cricket, going back a little bit? I mean, I was thinking of Samit. You and Brendan Taylor were pretty tight, I remember, with people like that.
So we just gelled straight away. Brendan, I didn't know a huge amount about him. I knew he was an international player, but Zimbabwe, so you didn't see a lot of him on the TV playing. But yeah, straight away we connected. Right from the start of the day, obviously me and Alex Hales came through the system together, so we've always got on. Samit Patel, again, I watched him since I was a kid, so to share a dressing room with him was brilliant. And our kids, like I just said, our kids get on. They both play cricket together. So I see a lot of Samit. Jake Ball was another one. Brody. Stephen Mullany, when he came from Lancs, he was a great signing, fitted in really well. There's been like James Pattinson came over. Loads of people really that you just connect with and enjoy each other's company. And I mean, the thing is with cricket, Matt, is you live in each other's pockets.
Yeah.
But for 6-7 months, you're with each other every day, and it's really important that you get on and you sort of help each other out when you're going through them tough times. And you're close to someone, you can sort of put an arm around someone or give someone a bit of a kick up the bum, and I suppose that's the benefit of building them relationships. Really, you drag each other along, and also you enjoy each other's success. Sometimes it might not be my day, but Jake might have got a fifer, or Alex might have got 100, or Brendan might have took a brilliant catch, and you feel like you're in it together, and you've all got a common goal of success or winning a trophy. But you can definitely feel that. You can feel that early season if you've got that connection within the group. Players can feel it, and then obviously fans feel it, and you're away. And I think Forest are like that at the minute. I look at Forest and I think generally we could beat anyone. I do, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because you mentioned early season form there. Like, how many games in do you know this is going to be a good year? Because I kind of think with football, it's 10 games. The die's kind of set. Is it like that in your experience?
Yeah. Well, the first thing you do, you look at the fixture list, don't you? I obviously do that in cricket. You look at the fixtures and you start plotting your way through the season, thinking, well, if we perform well at this game, we should win. We should take 20 points, or And then I did the same with Forest. And when the fixtures came out, excuse me, when the fixtures came out, I thought, oh, we could go well here up to Christmas. This looks like a decent run into Christmas. This, and if we get it right, we can have some decent points on the board. And with that in mind, you start attracting players as well. You know, you get to the January window. You know, players will hopefully want to come and play for Forest. That are in a good position. And I sort of looked at them fixtures and thought, right, we can seriously put a good dent in this and get some momentum early on, and that's sort of carry you through the season. Then you get some confidence in the players. Chris Wood scoring goals, all these little things that count, just builds a confidence. I hope we stay injury free. I know we've lost Danilo to a horrible injury. Also, the factors that you think about, if we can keep people on the park and keep the squad strong, with early form and early confidence, then honestly, I could see us being top 10. I generally can.
What do you think about the red card on Sunday, keeping people on the pitch?
I think it was a great tackle. I'm hoping they're going to look at it back and realise they got that wrong. I think it was a brilliant tackle. I really do. Yeah, I don't think it's a red card.
And the performance in general as well, because I thought we played really well. I don't know if the subs worked. I said this today, but I don't think it matters. We got a point, didn't we? So it doesn't really matter what Nuno does in that sense. We live by the sword, die by the sword.
I wondered if he was going to set up the same way he did at Liverpool, and then bring a Langer, Hudson-Odoi on. I'm quite glad he didn't, in a way, because it looked to me like he thought, right, we're going to have a good go at this. We've got some confidence in the squad. Let's have a go. Let's get an early goal and then go from there. But I like the look of Jota. He seems to come on and has an impact on the games he's been on so far. You know, he charges around. He's got a good engine, good footballer. But no, I'm really happy with that result. I think Brighton away is a real tough game for a lot of clubs. You know, they seem to have got it going down there. They've got that sort of a fortress, isn't it? The Amex.
Yeah.
It's a real tough place to go. So to come away with a point and 4 points over 2 away games, Liverpool and Brighton, I think if you look at it like that, you're laughing, aren't you? You're absolutely chuffed with that. It's been a great. I suppose now it's how you build on that, and with Gibbs White missing against Fulham, obviously there'll be a change there. But we build on that now against Fulham Saturday, which is another massive game. I think we've got to start beating your sides like your Fulham and that now. If we want to finish in the top half of the table, these are the games we've got to take that momentum and push on, especially at home as well.
Would you like to play for Nuno? From your, you'd love to play for Nuno because you'd be a Premier League footballer. But as a manager, would you like to work with someone like Nuno, who seems a calm head? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, and you know what? I really like that he got sent off. I know it sounds a strange thing to say, but from a player's point of view, you'd be looking at that and thinking, "I'll run through a brick wall for this bloke." He's aging money, and he's just trying to stick up for his players, for his team, because he thought that was obviously a good tackle as well. But I think so, yeah. I think you get the feel of that managers, don't you? I mean, I've never spoke to the bloke in my life, but he just looks like he's got the players' respect. He seems like a good bloke. He seems like an honest bloke. And yeah, I mean, he's come into the job. It was a tough job to come into, wasn't it? And he's built a squad now that's capable of finishing in the top half of the Premier League. And it looks to me like all the players are enjoying it there.
What position in the league are you taking right now? Then would you dream of top 10 or more?
I'm taking 12th.
Yeah,
but I think if all being well, if we stay injury free and we carry on with this form, this momentum we've got, I think we could finish top 10. But I'm a glass half full type of player. I always see the good in everything. So. Brody used to take the mick out of me. He used to say that Fletch, you come in bouncing around thinking that we're going to beat Man City 6-0, which is not the case. I'm not that stupid, but I do, honestly. I feel it. I can feel it around when I watch Forest now. I think they're onto something.
Paul Franks he said more than once, he said to me that I was glass half empty as a person. I didn't feel that way, but maybe he was right. It's stuck with me. I don't know. He's a wise man, Franksy, so maybe I should listen to him more. I don't know.
Yeah,
or is he not a wise man?
He is a wise man, yeah. But I'm a different character. He's more, I don't know, he's more organised than I am. I'm a bit of a free spirit, like I said. So maybe I'll come out with a few things that are a bit extravagant, but I genuinely believe honestly, Matt, that Forest can finish in the top 10. I do.
You do say the odd extravagant thing. I remember many years ago interviewing you. You won't remember this, but you said something that was completely unprincipled about a winter tour. A winter tour away in the Caribbean. Your interviewing you was fun. I remember, terrifying but fun. So yeah.
Oh, listen, we're all different characters, aren't we? Like you just said, you got to be yourself, haven't you?
True. Last question before we let you go. Best Forest memories? I mean, maybe it's Anfield last week. I don't know with your boy, but what would it be?
It's one of them, but the best Forest memory is Wembley. Again, I went with my son Freddie, so that was incredible. I drove down the M1 took Samet and his lad as well, and we made a good day of it. So Wembley, right up there. I know it was just an emotional day. I remember at the end of the game, nearly in tears. It was just so amazing to just be there and witness it. Especially with Joe Worrell lifting the trophy as well. He's a good lad. He comes down to cricket a lot. So we got to know him, and to see him lift the trophy for the club was amazing. Back in the Premier League, which I've never really witnessed, and then obviously with it being with my son as well, just brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's mad how many we're a similar age. Our best memories are pretty much all in the last 3 years. My best memory before that was probably beating Yeovil on the last day to get back into the Championship or something. How much it's changed is pretty crazy, isn't it?
I know. I mean, I remember the Paul Hart days, the Des Walker own goal. That was sort of my era of coming in to watch Forest regular when I had a season ticket. Marlon Harewood, David Johnson, Andy Reid, Dawson, that sort of era.
Brilliant. Yeah, mine was the same. Who's your favourite Forest player
of all time?
Yeah.
Oh my word! But I've got to have watched them. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that qualifies the answer.
I never seen Stuart Pearce. My favourite Forest player of all time is probably. I mean, Andy Reid. Loved Andy Reid. He's right. He's right. It's a real tough question. That. Oh dear.
It is tough because we haven't seen. If I say you have to have seen them, because that's what the memories are born from. Mine was Andy Reid. I mean, I saw Collymore a bit when I was getting into Forest, but Andy Reid. I think maybe I'm too old now to have like Morgan Gibbs-White as my favourite Forest player. Yeah, but if he sticks around,
I feel like I'm a bit of a fanboy saying that. But I used to like Assomba Longer. I thought he was good. Mikel Antonio. So I'm trying to think back to the eras. Yeah, Wes Morgan. Love Wes Morgan. There's been loads over the year. Now you Gibbs White, Ryan Yates. Love Ryan Yates, obviously local lad. It's a tough one. That's a tough one, Matt. Can't really answer that. Andy Reid. If I had to pick one, I'd pick Andy Reid. There you go.
Yeah, I've always said Andy Reid. And like, if Morgan sticks around for 5 years, then he's going to be a lot of younger people's favourite player because he's so good. To be fair, so yeah.
Well, he's my son's. He's my son's. He likes Hudson-Odoi and Gibbs White.
Yeah, like the flair players. Centre halves don't get enough love, really. And Murillo's a bit of an exception, but nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned centre half like Milenkovic.
What a jet he is! I love Murillo. I'm so glad we kept him. I don't think I think he'll be gone. I don't think he's going to be here for a while. But I mean, he is great to watch. He's so he's solid. He's rock solid, and his passing, his range of passing is just phenomenal. Isn't it? He passed the ball at Brighton at the weekend that went over the left back's head. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah,
pinpoint. It was just top draw. I'm surprised he starts scoring more goals. You see a bit of Roberto Carlos in him, don't you? With that wand of a left foot.
Yeah, he'll get goals. He's really good. Like to beat Brighton's press because he was key to it. Like you say, getting in behind their fullbacks. I think him and Milenkovic. We were discussing this morning, like where they rank as pairings in the Premier League. I think they're as good as anything outside the top 4, certainly. So, yeah, the foundations.
Absolutely, and then Aina and Moreno. I'm pleased Moreno's starting because I think he's really good. I think Villa have dropped a bit of a clanger there. I really rate him and Aina as well. I mean, the pace he's got. I know he looks to me like sometimes he gasses out, but he's the pace and his control on the ball is top draw. He links up well with obviously Alanga, Hudson-Odoi. So yeah, we keep all them fit. We keep the defence fit. That'll look after us through the season. It looks pretty set to me now, the defence.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, definitely. Right, we shall leave it there. As ever, if you've enjoyed this, do us a favour and hit like on this video. It makes a big difference. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can become a channel member. And lovely reviews on iTunes and 5-star reviews on Spotify are welcome. Fletch, I'd love to have you back on a couple more times throughout the season just to talk about the games and stuff if you're up for it. But hopefully you enjoyed that.
Yeah, mate. Give me a shout whenever. I'd love to chat with you all.
Excellent. We'll get you on with Temps and Greg and other people next time, or Lewis McGugan or something like that. But yeah, definitely should be good. Should be good. Right. Have a good day, everyone. We shall be back tomorrow with the Fulham match preview and then the opposition preview on Friday. But if we don't see you then, we shall hopefully see you soon.